The question of the day is, was the rape my fault? Why do we always ask ourselves that? What is with us that we, as females, always feel like we have to take the blame? It's a cultural thing. It's an absolute cultural thing. It has nothing to do with what you're wearing, how you were wearing it, where you were. Did you say to him, hey, let's go up to your place and have sex? No. If you didn't say that, it wasn't your fault. Did you say no? If you didn't say no, that's unusual. But on the other hand, if you're frightened, you don't know what to say. The problem is society. Society doesn't want to believe that there are people who just go around taking advantage of other people sexually. Why? Why do they not believe that? They know that people go around taking advantage of people all the time. Monetarily, financially, of course. I mean, it happens all the time. What about taking advantage of a situation? Think about politicians. They're always taking advantage of situations. What about people in the stock market? You always hear about inside trading, which means somebody knows something before anybody else does, and they do it, and then they make a bunch of money and nobody else does. And, it's so weird. It's all so weird. People are people. Now, what I have discovered in my research is that between the ages of about 14, 15, and 20 to 24, so it varies a little bit, young men are pretty much erect all the time. I mean, they're just nothing. I mean, looking at an apple might make them erect. There's no real focus on what makes them ready to have sex. However, with someone who's a perpetual or a serial rapist, it's a different story. It really doesn't make that much difference what age they are or what you're doing or how you're doing it, except maybe you're in a vulnerable spot. You're walking alone at night or something, or walking alone in the middle of the night or something like that, where the location is vulnerable, or you're not very tall, or maybe you've got a ponytail and it's swaying. I mean, it can be almost anything to trigger someone who's a serial rapist at any age, too. You remember the thing about men is that they can penetrate a woman, they can impregnate a woman at just about any age if they are in the right health to be able to do that. So all that research that I did was tell me about the person who came after me. And with me, it wasn't a serial situation. It was a situation where I knew nothing. If I'd had any training, if I had any idea that I would be enticing him by kissing him, I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have done it. But I did not know that. I just didn't have that. I didn't have that information. And it sounds so crazy now because, gosh, I was just barely 15. But back then, 15 was very young and very naive. There wasn't the internet. I had no access to libraries. And even if I had, they probably wouldn't have had any books. And certainly wasn't any access to television. We didn't have television. Yeah, I know, I came from the Dark Ages. But the point is, it wasn't your fault. And so now what you have to do, if you want to be relieved of having that question in the back of your head, is to talk with other women who face the same situation. and ask them about how they were presenting themselves, what they were doing beforehand, what precipitated him. Did he knock her down? I mean, whatever it was. Talk with others who understand and recognize what an incredibly wonderful person you are, a brave person, to have been able to recover as much as you have. And maybe it's new. Maybe this is a new situation. You've just been raped. Then now your long process towards healing has to begin. In any case, talking with other women, recognizing your value, recognizing you're not spoiled product. Things happen. I remember, I think I was like 11 or 12 years old. I was quite a swimmer. I always loved to swim. I lived to swim, actually. It's what I did every day I possibly could in New Jersey. We were living in New Jersey at the time. And if the pool was open, I was there. That's all there was to it. So at some point, I had dived into a lake and I'd gotten a vaginal infection. And I went to see the doctor with my mother at the military base, and he crammed his big instrument up inside of me and broke my hymen. My mother was extremely upset, and I had no idea what she was upset about. I didn't know there was such a thing. So to me, it was a non-issue. So that's part of the reason why I was impregnated so easily, because the passageway was not blocked by anything. And of course, you wouldn't know that it was my first time because there was no hymen. My mother had made a big deal out of putting it in the medical chart so that if I found myself in a position where a man was refusing to marry me because I didn't have my hymen, we would have proof. And, you know, if that's a situation from an infection in the pond, I really think that's probably the wrong guy to marry, if you know what I mean. But in truth there's so many differences in what life was like when I was a kid and what life is like now. And talking about that, talking about what's changed, how you dress, what you're feeling, what makes you feel guilty, what we can do to help you overcome that, help you understand who you are and how valuable you are and how many people love you. You know, we have to look at a whole lot of things before we come up with a way to recover from something like that, because talking is one of the best options. Talking with other people who've been through it, other people who faced this incredible violation of your privacy. And how could you possibly violate your own privacy if you wanted your privacy? It doesn't make sense. If you wanted to be left alone, if you wanted to be strong, if you wanted to be capable and brave and all those adjectives we can think of, you wouldn't possibly do anything to cause yourself that kind of grief and to put yourself in the position where years later you're trying to figure out what to do, how to handle this, how to move forward in your life. And you really can't, because you can't do it alone. It's just the way it is. Doing it alone is really, really tough. But doing it with others who've been through the same thing is not. So wait till the end, and there'll be a listing for my school where you can come and talk to me. Bring other friends if you'd like. Whatever makes you comfortable. Whoever you want to bring with you to be comfortable. That's what's important. What's important is that you walk away feeling like a whole person who's done the absolute best she can under the circumstances. Life sometimes gives us extremely challenging lessons, but we always learn something from them. Leave me a comment down here if you want to, or like or subscribe, whatever you want. But my school is a place where you can talk to me if you'd like. Thank you.